Ready for some presents. And Mark, I think you wanted to say something, so we'll do that before. I also wanted to say something real quick. When June was on and in the bed, she said that don't feel so bad, don't be so sad. She said, we're going through this together. We talked about that before. We did go through it together. She wanted to know what time it was. Floyd and I was with her. And she said, I'm ready to go. She said, will you tell everybody I said goodbye? I said, June, I'll tell everybody you said goodbye. Well, after I had her cremated, Floyd does, he's a guest on Bobby Joe Holman's radio show. Bobby Joe's here somewhere. There he is. And it was about June, and it's a worldwide radio station. And at the very end, I was allowed to get on there and tell everybody that June said goodbye, and that she loved her fans. So I want to thank Bobby Joe and Floyd for giving me the platform to be able to do that. Come on up, Mark. This is Mark. He's ready to say something.
I wasn't lucky enough to know June for as long as most of you did. I came to her late. I was very late to the party. I kind of knew of her and her legacy being a lifelong film obsessive, but it wasn't until I saw the story in the Times, like a lot of people did, that it came into stark relief. And when I saw it, I thought, I want to just do something. And at that time, I was assistant managing a theater in Los Angeles. And if you ever had to visit the theater while I was working there, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I was such a bastard back then. But I got in touch with the Times writer, and I set up a midnight show of Up in Smoke for her to appear at and do Q&A. And for various reasons, she didn't make the show, and there was kind of we didn't have any news as to why, and there were some erroneous, premature rumors of her demise going around, and I decided to take the best route I could, and I opened up a can of Ajax, and I did the whole hip-hop thing and said, this is one for all of my absent friends, and poured it on the ground, and she thought that was hilarious. We did end up doing a lot of things together. Anytime one of her movies screened in LA, I made sure she got to a screening of it, and if there was a Q&A, to at least, get her present. Most of the times, they didn't know that she was in attendance, but when they found out, they would invite her, and she would oftentimes walk away with the show. I even bought my own 35 print of Pretty Maids All in a Row and screened it after hours at the theater for a bunch of friends and had her come, and she was really excited to be with a whole bunch of younger people seeing her for the first time and all of her prime. And I loved keeping her up to date on stuff because, in a sense, I felt like that was keeping her relevant for everyone else. That I'd buy her DVDs, I'd burn her CDs of the music I was listening to, I'd introduce her to all of my friends. I always regretted that I didn't get to do anything higher profile with her to really put her back in the popular consciousness. But I feel like some of that has been taking place indirectly through what I was able to do. There's another very high profile fan of Pretty Maids who lives in this city, and he's taken over operation of another theater, and there's a reel of classic trailers that plays before every Saturday midnight show they screen, and one of them is Pretty Maids All in a Row. So at least for the last 4 or 5 months, people showing up to see stuff have gotten to see footage of her and that dynamite cackle of hers. So what I'll remember most is that she was always very upbeat, even when she was just coming out of the worst from that black period. She was never bitter, never had any mean things to say. She didn't mince words about some people who had done her wrong, but she was always very forgiving, and always figured that a turnaround was coming. She talked about trying to write her own guest appearance on 2.5 Men, and I like to think if I could have just gotten her in front of the right people, maybe we could have just made that happen. And the fact of the matter is, she never gave up hope, and I lost contact with her for too long of a time. I knew that periodically she'd have to do stuff like disconnect her phone to economize, and I figured, well, I'll just hear from her when things are better. And then it was the morning that Donna called and said that she was gone, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I don't know whether it was personal pride or maybe she honestly thought that she was just going to get out of this, that she didn't let me know how rough things were getting. But I have assurances that she was thinking about me, and I know that from everything I've heard from all of you, she was thinking about a lot of people, and that's kind of a hard thing to do when your own circumstance is pretty harsh. So that speaks volumes about her character, and speaks volumes about all of you that she cared about. So I'm just glad I got the window of time I was able to have with her. So thank you.